All right, something that you guys need to know before we start. If you were scheduled to test in science, say a few days before, like Monday, Tuesday, and we haven't had the review, by all means, please wait until we do the review because, I mean, that's what the review's for, is to help you. So that's just a note, because I know I've gotten a lot of tests in. This is probably one of the easier tests for you. So I haven't had too many bad grades, and that's always good. And then when I'm done, here, underneath my Kahoot pin box, there's going to be the review. A lot of you still are not giving me those study guides, which is extra credit. And then, let's see, before I start discussions, the discussions are coming in, but I'm not getting a whole lot of 100s. And the reason for that is because this discussion, some of you I think are reading others' discussions and they're not doing it correctly, so that means you won't do it correctly. But you have to cite sources on this one. You're going to give me your opinion and then you're going to give me facts. So it's a little bit more detailed than what you guys are used to. And then once again, I said this last time, your responses to students, great job. I like how you explained it. That stuff won't receive any credit. So you have to go back and you have to fix that. A lot of you are no longer giving me good job anymore, but you're just sort of giving me a little bit more. So if I can technically read that discussion and it's a generic response from you, what I mean is you could pretty much copy and paste that to everybody's response. I'm not going to give you credit. You have to be detailed to that person that you read. Also, don't correct them. I don't give credit when you say you needed more or your punctuation wasn't right. That's my job. So that doesn't help when you guys go ahead and do that because you don't get a full credit for that either. That being said, we're going to go ahead and start Kahoot. Only 24 questions on this one. We can't choose our nicknames anymore because of issues of people not giving nice nicknames. Let's put it that way. Okay, so this one, in diffusion, particles move from one area of blank concentration to another area of blank concentration. Those that just entered, we just started playing, so you can definitely still get in. Yes, so it's going to go from a high concentration to a low concentration. Most of you did well on that. Good job. Water is extremely important to living things because most blank take place in it. So what's taking place? Did we just, oh, okay. It's like we froze. I'm freezing. Not sure if you guys are getting it on your end too or not. Awesome. Once again, that's going to be the chemical reactions that take place in there. That's okay if you're late. Just go ahead and get yourself situated. We just started. Trying to let you guys in and do multiple things. Not today. It's not a very good day so far with trying to do that. Which of these is the correct sequence for a nerve impulse when hitting a tennis ball? Seems like you have a lot of time now to answer. I remember when we played the game right before break, I made them really short. So yes, it's going to go from the sensory neuron to the brain, to the motor neurons, to the muscle. It's going to tell your muscle what to do. What is the role of a chloroplast? I hope to see 100% on all this. So the chloroplast, that's all that little green that makes the plant green, I should say. 19, makes food. Yes, that's what it's going to be for. What is, let's see, guys. So no, energy is not what chloroplast does. That reminds me, mitochondria helps with energy, little hint there. What happens to a reptile's temperature if its environment changes? Wow, 30 seconds seems like a long time. So what's going to happen as this chameleon is in hot temperature, or what's going to happen if it's in cold temperature? There you go. Awesome, guys. Pretty good job. Plants growing in response to gravity is called... I love seeing the answer number go really fast because it tells me some of you know your stuff. Five, four, three, two, one. All right. So that's for gravity. I think a lot of you are confusing the one between gravity and just moving toward the sun. I do think I have another question very similar, so I don't want to quite give it out yet. Which is the function of the respiratory system? It's a big thing right now. Everybody's getting sick, so obviously this deals with that. Looks like I don't have some of my chatters in my chat box today. 33, yes. It's going to take in the oxygen, and then it's going to release carbon dioxide. Good. No, I was waiting to see if anybody chose green, and none of you did, so that's good. Which of these is in the correct order from smallest to largest? So we're going from the smallest to the largest. Hopefully you guys know what the smallest is right off the top, and that actually gives it away. I know, Sterling, I agree with that. Good, so cells, then it goes to the tissues, and then you get your organs, like your heart, your liver, then your systems, we just talked about digestive system, and then the organisms. Those that just came in, you still have time to hop in, we're not that far in. I really wish we could get the Kahoot music in through here. I can't do it. Yeah, it makes it a little quieter when there's no music. Moves water up the plant. So let's see, moves down from, so that was 50-50 on the red and the orange, or red and yellow. So it's going to move it up the plant. Ooh, someone's new in first place. Dr. Impala, Green Gazelle, Brave Swan, and Honest Fox. Large molecules such as proteins have to enter and leave cells through this. How do they do it? Jason, I always like seeing you come in with your name because that was my name before, and I actually have all our names start with J's. So I think that's really funny that you're sort of the same way. Good. Active transport. It's going to enter and leave the cells through active transport. Plant cells have blank and blank, while animal cells don't. This was a CBA question I would call on some of you that have just recently done your CBA, trying to ask you what the differences are. Well, I'm glad you just pressed the wrong one, but you know the right one, hopefully. So cell walls and chloroplast. You don't have a cell wall on your cell. You're not green, so you don't have chloroplast. I also want to say that I don't know how well you can see it on this. So I have an animal cell over here. Oops, sorry. Animal cell on the left. You're going to notice there's mitochondria in that animal cell. There's also a plant cell. You're going to notice that there's mitochondria in the plant cell. Why do I bring this up? Because somewhere answers are given to me saying that animal cells do not have that, and I don't know where that's coming from. Movement of water through a membrane, such as into and out of a cell, is called this. Can't make out anything. Really what I was just saying was both plant and animal cells have mitochondria. I'm getting a lot of test answers where you're not saying that. You're giving me a different answer. And I'm not sure why, where that's coming from. Okay, movement of water through membrane. Fortunately, there's really no way for me to get you guys to remember this, but it's osmosis. That's what that's called. Sometimes I like to think of, this is a difficult question, I think, and I just like to be able to give an analogy to it to where you understand it a little bit better. In order to be considered living, a thing must be made of, if you've taken your test, I think most of you have gotten this one, part of this one right. Another thing I'm going to state on the test, remember essay questions, if they are worth 3 or more points, for you to get full credit, I have to have the answers of more details. Another thing is they have to relate to your lesson. Good. Cells. You must have cells to be living. Blank neurons control muscle movement. So just remember that on your essay questions. They are worth a lot of points, so I expect a lot of details, and those details must be something that you learned through our lesson. There are quite a bit, actually. Half of you are playing. Yes, so that motor neuron is going to do the muscle movement. The sensory is maybe you felt me hit you or hit your leg or your knee. You know how that we showed you the little doctor using that little tool to hit your knee. You feel it. That would be the sensory, but it's not. It's your motor that's going to cause that movement. Which systems work together to deliver oxygen to cells where it's needed? See if you can at least eliminate some. I just looked at one and I'm like, right off the bat. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. So that actually will get rid of. Yeah, so just what I was trying to point out is two of the answers had digestive, and I was hoping you'd catch that and like, okay, I can knock it down. I think most of you did. Good. Respiratory and circulatory. Dr. Impala is still number one. Who's Dr. Impala? What does phloem do for plants? You probably have to read these a little carefully because at just first glance they look very similar. So that's going to move it down from the plant. A vine winding around a tree is an example of this. Some of these questions I'm reading and I'm like, that was way at the beginning of the unit. So you have to remember some of that stuff. I think it's interesting to see those vines just twist around. Good. Most of you got that right. It's the thigmotropism. It's going to make it move up and around. What role do enzymes play in living things? I did put a couple of questions in here that really make no sense. So hopefully you catch that. And like, okay, I can definitely get down again. Good job, Gregory. Thank you for answering. So what I was trying to say is those active and active and passive, I just threw in there, hoping that you could eliminate those two, and then you'd be left with the two. So the enzymes are going to speed up chemical reaction. Oh, I went quick. I see that wallaby moved up. What do we call plant bending toward a light? This one, a lot of you are answering this particular one correct or incorrectly on other questions, but it would be correct on this one. You were all able to narrow it down to 50-50 on the last couple questions that dealt with this. Just make sure you read the word, the whole word. The reason I'll tell you why here in a second. You see that photo and you're like, oh, it's red, but nope, you had to read the whole thing. So phototropism. All right, so we have Dr. Impala now, bold wallaby, bronze bobcat. And as you can see, it's anyone's game. Cells with a nucleus are called. Now you might think one of the answers is, well, technically there are multiple correct answers, but there's one of the best answer. What's the pin? It's up top. It's 450917. All right. Well, luckily, I don't see a lot of you that did that. Plants and animals do have a nucleus in their cell, but those cells are called eukaryotic cells. And then the prokaryotic cells, remember, eukaryotic are complex. That's what you have. Prokaryotics are more like the bacteria. Those are very simple cells. What is the function of a mitochondrion? 4 seconds left. So that's going to change. You really just sort of need to remember energy. That's one of the key terms for mitochondria. All right, blank is a reactant, which means input to cellular respiration, while this is the output. So you're going to give me the input and the output. Right, so oxygen is a reactant in cellular respiration. So just remember that respiration, oxygen, while energy is what comes out. What is the function of the circulatory system? So what's the function of the circulatory system? Looks like we're gonna, let's see, it's gonna transport substances through the body. Bronze bobcat and bold wallaby, let's see, they're neck and neck, right, those two. A simple cell without a nucleus is, I already gave the answer. If you were listening, I would hope to see a lot of you answering really fast. That was what, 2 questions ago, maybe 3? It wasn't the question, but I told you this answer. I think I even used the word simple in my sentence. I know I did. Good, prokaryotic. Oh, all right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna pull up another one that's very short just because we had a lot of people come in late and we're only at 9:30. So let me stop sharing for a second. And I'm uploading the next one. And you may have seen it. If you guys are my regulars or we've done this before class, I was just trying to see what I could do to give a little bit more study time. So it's going to be 2, 3, 8, 9, 9, 9.